All right, let me move this shit over now, and then make you big and pretty for the whole world to see.
Jeez. No one wants to see that.
All right, get off of there. Make Mike center, front and center. And then we'll head down here. All right, I think that's a little too big. All right, let's just run with it. So, all right, everyone, welcome to whatever episode this is of Behind the Hype. It's a glorious, glorious day because we have the interview man himself, and we were just talking about what his area of expertise should be. And I think, as I just said that, because I mean he does so much, but it's Mike from Maine, Mike Thomas, and the end of the day, I think the interview man works because I gotta say, I've been doing interviews now every day for a week, and I am drained. Like, I don't know how you've done it for almost 1,000 episodes. No, how many do you have?
It's getting up there. I'm at 730, I think, now.
Yikes. How do you do it? First of all, that's commitment to making an online income right there. That's huge news. How do you do that? How do you fit that in around your life? And
you know, Bill, for me, I'd rather be in my little room doing my interviews, speaking with people every day, than out there doing some quote unquote real job. Like for me, I spend at most an hour a day. I get on Skype. My wife was actually asking me last night. She's like, I can't believe you're home most of the day. You're like, don't you get bored? You're not out there going out for coffee with people, and you're not on the bus, and you're not driving to work. I'm like, I don't want to do that. That's not what I want. Like, I'm not sad. If I want to meet up with my friends for coffee or beer or something, then I can do that if I want to, but there aren't specific times during the day when I'm allowed to do that. So how am I able to do it? It's better than doing a lot of other things out there. It's better than, I used to be an English teacher. It's better than teaching English. I used to work as a marketing assistant at Georgetown University when I first started working. Better than doing that. Better than doing construction, right? But I feel like it's better than doing construction, doing these interviews, isn't it?
It sure. Well, it is. And I was just having a conversation with someone the other day about how my definition of work and laziness has completely changed. Like with construction, if you're being lazy, it's like, oh, I don't want to carry 2 sheets of plywood at once. Now, if I'm being lazy, I don't want to copy and paste that one piece of info today. I just want to forget about it and move on. It's so crazy, which has then led to more gym time because, wow, you can get lazy sitting around at home. But
no, you can, and that actually that could be a whole other topic there with getting lazy in your health and everything with working from home and how you do have to kind of all aspects of your life. We're no longer governed by anyone except for our wives, Bill. Like our biggest bosses are our wives who are monitoring how much we're making and making sure that we're actually working. But yeah, it's definitely in an autonomous type of situation where you have to be watching what you're doing. To go back to your question, how do you do it every day with the interviews? I think that for me, it's been a really good lesson in discipline and in doing something consistently, and just knowing that when I wake up in the morning, like I have to do this. This isn't. It's like when you develop a habit. They say that it takes, depending upon who you ask, they say it takes about 21 to 30 days to develop a habit before it starts becoming just like, if I don't do this, then I feel weird because I'm not doing it. It's the same thing with interviews. I feel guilty if I'm not out there putting out content, putting out an interview, putting out a review video. I feel guilty about it. I've even tried doing less of them. Instead of doing 5 to 6 to 7 a week, I started bringing it down to 2 to 3, and I felt weird about it. I felt like I wasn't working.
Well, it's funny because I was thinking about that. I don't know how you ended up quitting your job, but for me, when I quit, it was like I just stopped going. Dainty. you got the dainty and I got the oversized mug right there.
We can put a segue here. For everyone who doesn't know, Mike from Maine, who I am, I actually live in Turkey. This is a Turkish coffee here that I'm drinking. It's like taking like a big thing of Coke in a coffee glass. So it just kind of makes you go crazy.
I think you have better coffee too, because I need like 8 of these to get rolling. Like it's crazy. And I got the big North American size cup. Let's supersize that bad boy and put her in there. So yeah, I mean, like when I
interrupted you. Sorry.
No, see now you do. I totally forget now. It's okay. I have nothing to pitch today, and you got nothing to pitch. So being lost is cool. But like when I quit, I thought I had this whole vision, like I was just gonna sit there. And my boss and I back in the day, we were quite back and forth. Now we're golfing buddies, but like we would yell at each other. He got off on yelling at people. I don't like people that yell at people, so it was a big yelling thing. So I had this vision where I was gonna sit there, wait for him, and when he told me to get to work, I was going to drop a few obscenities and light my tool pouch on fire, and that's not the way it worked. I just stopped going to work. Like I just didn't show up. So then when I get here, I've got something that I've been working for like 4 to 6 hours every night on, and now I've got the entire day to figure out where to fit all this in and now start adding so I can grow and build and stuff like that and not feel lazy. And I'll tell you, for that first month or two, I think my income took a bigger hit than it has even when we lost everything, because I was so scatterbrained and lost and not focused on what I needed to do. Like, I don't know if that happened for you, but it is a huge discipline.
I think anyone that says that they know exactly what they're doing and that they've always known what they're doing, it's just full of crap. I think most of us out here that are doing these online businesses, every day is a new journey. And for me, one thing that I'm really scared about, Bill, is I've gotten to the point now where I've had my journey, I've documented it, I have income reports on my site where I've gone from making $300 a month back in 2011 to having some losses in some months that I've documented, to having my best month ever, which was, I think, 56,000. Something like 56,000 online in 1 month in profit. So it's one of these situations where I'm every day trying to continue to do what I'm doing and continue to keep on. Like, I don't want to if it ain't broke, don't fix it, is what they always say. But at the same time, I want to keep on learning and keep on adding things in. I added in webinars back in 2014, a skill that I learned from you, thank you very much. And I added that in, added some extra income in. Some parts of it I liked, some parts of it I didn't like. But there's just so many levels of all of this. Like, there's so many directions you can go in. In 2015, I started, instead of just doing affiliate marketing, I started doing a lot more product creation. And because of all the connections that I have from doing all these interviews, I know a lot of people in our niche. So I have connections where I'm able to reach out and at least show people, if I'm launching something, hey, can you look at this? Not everyone's going to promote everything, it's normal. But I'm able to add that into my income stream. Some things I like about that, some things I don't. Some things I'm good at, some things I suck at. But we're always learning all the time. No one has figured it out. Again, if they say they have, full of, as you would say, shit.
Yes, I would say full of shit. There's no filters here. You're allowed to swear on Behind the Hype. And if people don't like it, tough shit. Anyways, get through the all the time that I've been creating products, and I've dropped the F-bomb. Like, I try very hard not to use the F-bomb, because I realized, like, spending one day on the golf course with my old boss, how much he drops the F-bomb in a conversation. Like, in construction, that's a really common word.
Sure.
So I've tried to stop that as I got over here, but I've had people, just for saying shit, that refuse to listen to the content because they're so angry about a word. And the biggest thing that you can do is, even if you don't like the voice that's presenting it, you've paid your money. get past the bad words and like just listen to what they're saying. You don't have to continue buying or following the future, but we live in a closed-minded world, you know what I mean? Like it's...
I think everyone, you know that. Either people are going to resonate with you or they're not.
Exactly. So we say shit.
They're going to unsubscribe from my list and they're going to join your list, and someone's going to unsubscribe from your list and they're going to join my list, and it's a big world out there. I can't try to be someone that I'm not. But that being said, in my normal life, I don't swear that much. I do swear. It's not something that I'm against. Like, if there's a situation where it's appropriate, I'll drop the F-bomb. But it's not something where if I was to go out there and start being like F this, F that, that's not my personality. So I think it's important that be yourself, but you still have to kind of like. Well,
you have to evolve a bit.
I do the same as in front of my mom that I do in front of my friends.
Yeah, no, but and it's a good point, because you do have to evolve. And for me, that's what it was, is I look back and yeah, there's some big names that swear and stuff too. And I was looking at it and I was going, okay, so Construction Bill swore every day, all day long and that's just not who I am. But it's really hard to pull yourself or be able to sit there and look and notice, like, you're representing the guy that was struggling and not making ends meet, not making the money that he wanted, not living the life that he wanted. So you can continue to behave like that and say, oh, it's my business. But at the end of the day, I was losing out on some customers because I was still trying to be this guy, like this rebel. And at the end of the day, you know, there are people that there are longtime customers that I lost because I didn't want to make that change. Now, there's also people that will mold into listening to shit every now and then, but...
Let me ask you this. What's different about you now? Now that, other than the language and everything, like, if you were to look back at how you changed as a person, like, how are you as a person? Maybe when it comes to how you see money, maybe when it comes to how you see time with your family. Are there big things for you that have changed?
Everything. I'm not even close to the same guy I was when I started out. I think coming from where I did, there was a lot of bitterness that had crept in. So if I look back on what my internal thought process was and dialogue was most of the day, and I still had to fight. I was still listening to the positive stuff, but there was, when I wasn't listening to those and I was at my job and I was looking around and talking to the people there, I was very negative. And one thing I found is that when I was negative, it was almost like it was a force or a struggle to learn and apply and do all this stuff afterwards. And now I'm pretty positive all day. You know, I go to the gym most of the times. I have some times where I'm on like a month or two off, but I'm going to the gym. I get to see the kids all the time. I'm constantly learning, immersing myself in that which brings me power. I forget where I heard that, but I'm constantly doing things to be better. And the one thing I had to focus on was the area of money, because I'm telling you right now, if I had to go back to the job, I don't think I would be as terrible or poor off again, because this freedom has allowed me to evolve my mind and see that the ability to create wealth doesn't take a bunch of money. It just takes consistent, regular action over time. And that's the big thing for me, is that I was so negative that I was not really willing to be open to, wow, you know, maybe these rich folk are telling you how it is. Maybe they're just being straight up. Like, if you start investing today, a small amount, and gradually grow up, you're going to have a higher net worth. Like, and you won't notice it for $50. So I think the change in me has been complete. Like, I'm a completely different person than I used to be. And I'm not so bitter and angry anymore. How about you?
Yeah, I guess I've never been a bitter and angry person. I've had a really good last 2 years. At the beginning of 2014, I started getting into, instead of making 4 figures a month, I started making 5 figures a month, and it's gone up from there. So as far as like money goes, I've had a really good past two years financially. how does that affect the rest of my life? I had one of the most stressful beginnings of 2015. I had one of the most stressful times of my life because my wife wanted to buy our house, and she kind of wanted to get it a little earlier than I was comfortable with.
Don't they always?
Yeah, a little bit earlier. And it's good that she did. She put pressure on me and made me work my ass off. But I'm glad that she pressured me to do that. But I was in a situation where I'd saved up money to pay my taxes for 2014, and I had that money, but then we bought the house, so that money that I was going to pay my taxes with, which was like $30,000, was suddenly gone. I needed to make $30,000 plus a month. I needed to make like $50,000 by April, and I was just like, crap, like I can't have any bad months. I can't have anything go wrong there. So anyways, that was stressful. Like I think with a rise in your income, and I feel like this is like people complaining, the 1% complaining about their problems, but it's something that I think people can understand. It doesn't have to be high numbers like that. You could be making $3,000 a month, then you go to making $5,000 a month. Like, things don't change that much. Like, I'm used to now, if I don't make a certain amount of money per month, I get unhappy about it. Like, it kind of, I put a lot of pressure on myself. And I don't know if that's just because I'm so transparent with my income. I know that I have to share that every month with people. So I know that if I have a bad month, I'm going to put it out there and people are going to go, what's wrong with Mike? What's going on? Is his business messed up? I mean, no one would even say that, but it's something that goes on in my head. But I think with all this, and I just wrote a post about it, about kind of my journey with income. Maybe you see that post, Bill? I just put it on an income post.
I haven't yet. I'll probably see it today.
Yeah, check that out. And it's just my change in time with having money. Back in 2007, I actually put a video up of me, just like I had gained about 30 pounds. I was about 30 pounds heavier than I am now. And money doesn't necessarily bring happiness to you. Like, I don't think it necessarily does that. I think it's with you had the money, but you started using that freedom that it gave you to do other things that would make your life healthier, like working out, spending time with your family. I think it's really easy to get obsessed with your business. And it's really easy to start thinking, oh, this is what I need to be doing. I need to be making money and making money for my family. Like, I feel like that's a very, it's something that a lot of men feel like. They need to be the provider for their family. And actually, of course, I think it's true. It is something that we feel inside we need to provide. But if you're not spending time with your family, then they're not going to remember how much money you made for them. They're just going to remember that you weren't there.
Yeah, no, it's like with the money, to me, I think there's this for me, there was an internal battle where it was like, yeah, okay, I see all these business guys, these guys that are really making it happen, and they're on the grind, and they're up, and they're doing this shit, and they're doing that stuff. And then I have to remember that the reason the whole business took off and started being successful was because at one point, even though it is about my family and all that stuff, it became about me. And it had to be about me. So every day now, regardless of the income that comes in, I have to be living the life that I want in order for me to be happy, which is what everyone else will see. The family, the people on the interwebs, all those people. Like, I had to keep doing it for me. So there's an identity crisis there where it's like, there's so much changing and evolving that goes on. And now every day is for me. Because, yeah, you know what? I'd like to make $1 million a month. But honestly, I don't know that I want to be up from 5 a.m. until 3 a.m. and then going to bed and doing it all again. I just don't think that's how I want to live. So I had to make my life work for me. And as a result, now I'm happier. But I will say very, very clearly that money allowed me the freedom to be able to do that. And while it's the money I thought I was chasing, once I started paying attention to the freedom that I would get from the money, that's when it really started to take off, because I can visualize the freedom, right? But it's really hard to visualize the money. Like, okay, I don't have any, so I'll visualize a Porsche and a really nice big house that I can't believe in. Everybody knows what they want to do with their free time when they get some, right? Oh, I want to go up to the cabin. Oh, I want to go out to the Bahamas. I want to go spend time. They can list that off really quickly, but it's really hard to get a list of past 5 of what people would do with their money. House, car, pay bills.
What do you want? Do you want a nice car? Does that matter to you? Like having is there like like people talk about like vision boards, like putting their house in their car and whatever. Like, is it a tangible thing for you, or is it things that you want?
You know,
we talk about the time, but the freedom. Of course, that's what we want. I know, but are there things that you want?
Yeah, it's definitely nice to have some luxuries to go along with the new lifestyle that you have. But it's, for me, I mean, we just went out and got a new car. I drove, and it was crazy because I'm going to these conferences to tell people how to make shit tons of money on the internet, and I'm still driving a rusted O2 Elantra that is on its last legs. And my wife keeps like, when are we going to get a new car? And I was like, when we lost everything in 2008, the one thing I said to myself was, it's not going to happen again. So we drove that, and the goal was until it died. So when we're shopping for the car, could we go out and afford one of those Mercedes? Sure. But then I don't have as much income in my pocket. I've got higher bills. The gas costs more. The oil costs more. The tires cost more. The maintenance costs more. And I'm not sure I'm willing to incur those long-term costs of that. So we settled with a Sonata that's fully loaded and turboed. Now it looks like a Beamer, drives like a Mercedes, and it cost me like 30 grand less than a Mercedes or a Beamer would. So yeah, the things are nice. And when you get in my car, you feel like a VIP. But I'm not willing any longer to sacrifice my freedom for a thing. If that makes sense.
I think that's really important. Really important. And that's how I am too. I feel better if I feel better sleeping at night when I have $100,000 sitting in my bank account as to opposed to having $100,000 car in the garage.
Well, you got to pay for that car.
Yeah. But I feel better with that because I never know. You never know what's going to happen. You never know. I'm someone that has had multiple businesses. When I first started, I was doing CPA marketing and like arbitrage and all this crazy stuff, and I was making $300 a day from that, and that business died. I was doing AdSense niche sites. Had a month where I made $17,000. That business died because of Google changing stuff, and I'm really skeptical. I'm kind of in the situation where my anxiety levels with business is like, okay, it could all come crashing down anytime. You never know when PayPal decides that they don't want to take internet marketing anymore. They've decided that it's done and no one, Stripe's not taking it and all this stuff. Never know. And so I'm always kind of preparing for the worst times. And I think that maybe I'm overreacting, but also that I'd rather be overreacting than underreacting.
Well, at least you're going to be safe in the end, which funny now that you talk about that, because you did come from other places. And as we're talking, I came up with 2 questions, because there's one thing that always people are just like, I know, because I have conversations with our peers and your name comes up because you're Mike, you're always on the leaderboards, you're always crushing it. And we're like, where is this guy, like, how is he building his list? So I'm going to ask you that question, and then I'm going to ask not only how do you build the list, but I think most people can identify with the problem in the business with list building is you constantly have to keep that going, because in our scene, there's like a lot of launches where you get your list and you're happy, and then people hammer it and it's down and there's no longevity. So 2 things, how do you build your list? And second thing, how do you feel as though you're creating something that lasts as well as you are? Like, how are you doing that?
Sure. As far as building my list, when I first started building my list, I started with solo ads, and I went out and started buying solo ads. It worked. I got people on my list. They weren't that receptive. I'm still not. I won't say that solo ads don't work or they do work. I think that there are people that will buy on solo ad lists. I just think that they are not that they're not the same as having a list of customers that have bought from you before or bought from someone else. So that's one way that I started doing it. I also built my list. I got up to my first 2,000 subscribers by putting classified ads on the Warrior Forum when I was back selling AdSense sites. So I would put up an ad that I was selling sites, people would come, opt in, maybe buy a website from me, and I built a list that way. So, but by the time that I started doing affiliate marketing, I had about 2,000 to 3,000 people on my list, and I was able to promote and make a few sales. I think I made like $60 in commissions my first time. So I had buyers on that list that produced that. But yeah, how mainly am I and have I built my buyers list? For the longest time, until my biggest launch, or like until my first big launch, and big meaning like I did 50,000 in sales. I was building my list primarily through putting a bonus on the back end of people's launches that I promote. So, for example, to make that, for anyone that doesn't understand that, let's say that Bill has a product, and I would promote his product, and I would ask him, hey, Bill, do you mind if I put an image with a link to a squeeze page in your members area, and be able to get some people onto my list that have bought your product? And I never did it forcefully. I never said, if you don't do it, I'm not going to promote your product. It's just one of those things that's like, hey, if you're cool with it, that's great. If you're not cool with it, that's fine. Of course, I would prefer it if you do it. Of course, I'd rather have it. But most people, I would say that 75 to maybe even 85% of people are fine with it. And it's a way that you're able to put buyers on your list. And it's like, I think it's on par with launching your own products. I'm able to get proven buyers on my list all the time. Other ways, I have a website, MikeFromMaine.com. I have pop-ups on the site. I get people coming in through the search engine, searching for different product names, searching for other stuff, random Google stuff. If you have a website, you know that you get people coming in searching for weird stuff. So I don't get a ton of traffic. I get about 100 views from Google a day. So I don't get amazing search engine traffic. I'm not that concerned with search engine optimization. I don't really go out of the way to do any of that. I don't build any links. I don't do any of that crazy stuff. But yeah, I get people through there. I'm trying to think if there's anywhere else that I get people. I post my stuff on Facebook. So if people, whenever I put out a review or if I put out an interview, I post it on Facebook. I get people coming in through there. But yeah, I'd say the main ways that I've built my list are first, back-end bonuses, second, product launches.
Cool. Okay, so that brings me to the next one. If you're doing product launches and you're constantly, because I mean, let's face it, it's not as though you're shy about promoting, right? Like it's a regular thing that you're doing and you're doing it consistently all the time. So do you think it's that exact thing that's making you last? Because you'll hear people are like, don't promo all the time. Don't promo all the time. It kills your relationship. Yet you see that Mike is promoting, he's doing reviews all the time, interviews all the time with product creators, and yet he's continuously on the top of leaderboards. So do you think it's that steadfast approach day in and day out that is making your longevity, coupled with your integrity and posting the income and all that stuff?
I really feel like the fact that I post my income reports, they always say that people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. I think there's the whole thing that people see me all the time. They always see my face. They know how I am. They know how I talk. They're just used to me. That a lot of people kind of feel like even though they haven't met me, they feel like they kind of know me just because they've watched me so many times, heard my voice. I think that's a huge relationship builder right there, a huge trust builder. I think the fact that I do my best to screen people that I promote on my show. I've interviewed people before and then looked at their product and not published their interview because the product was a piece of crap. So I do my best not to promote horrible products. We are internet marketing niche. It's a flashy niche. It's a sketchy niche. I do my best to try to go between the hypiness and the helpfulness in between there, and try to do a good happy medium there with that. But I mean, I'm here to make money. This is my job, and I'm open about that with my income reports. If anyone was ever looking for an income disclaimer, there it is. I have my income disclaimer right there that I make my income specifically from the affiliate promotions that I do. Why have I been growing like this? I just think that it's the consistency. I think it's the fact that people know I'm here. They unsubscribe from my list, and then they know that if they want to check out MikeFromMaine.com, they can come back. Some people just do email marketing, and I think it's a really big mistake. If you're just you're just sending out emails, those emails are dead within I would say within a couple of hours. If not, maybe you might get a few clicks over the next couple of days randomly. But most of your clicks are going to come in within that first couple hours there. So I think that it's a combination of it. I think it's good doing what I've done here is instead of doing just a review blog, I've turned it into the show thing. And I've seen other people repeat it with just review videos and not even do interviews and do really well with the whole review video aspect of it. The whole combination of interview and review has worked really well. It's something that I initially, when I first got started, I was just doing interviews, and then I saw Han Fan, he's doing both the review and interview, and I started watching what he was doing, and I was like, okay, he's doing amazingly well. And so I started, I don't want to say copying because my style is very different, but I started mimicking what he's doing out there. And that kind of brings me to another point. If you see other people doing things that are working, pay attention to what they're doing. Don't copy exactly what they're doing. Don't copy their emails. Don't copy their headlines and all that stuff. I've had people do that to me as well. I had a guy who actually just copied my email word for word and sent it out. I think you know who I'm talking about. And I mean, that's just bad taste. But pay attention. Don't reinvent the wheel. You're not going to figure it out by yourself. It's not going to happen. Like there's so many smart people out there that are doing so many different things. Watch what they're doing, and if they're doing it over and over again, then probably it works.
Well, it's funny because, and it's funny that you say that you were kind of modeling from Han, because I think for 2 years ago, I did a video, and it seemed pretty abrupt because I was trying to explain to people, like, we're taking a small portion of people's attention, and it's like the people that are on the internet watching us are choosing us over television. So there's got to be like this I'm getting the text for a sec. Hold on one second. Sorry, Mike. All right. Joy's working from home 101.
I'm just waiting for my wife to come home and ring the doorbell. That's usually what happens.
That's when it's over, folks. But it's just, we're taking a portion of their time, and it's all you have is a website with some interviews. You know what I mean? I mean, we can pretty it up and say a whole bunch of stuff, but trying to explain to people on how emulating or modeling works is is I've used you as the example for a very long time, because if you break it down, you just do some videos on a website. You know what I mean? And everyone tries to make it this huge complicated thing. And yet I remember way back in the day, my first start was doing reviews. I didn't do it quite like you. I didn't do interviews. I just did posts about it and sent them to a site. And that's how I got my first start. And it was modeling something else that I had seen from someone else. So I think it's really cool that we're on here right now. And Mike from Maine, like the talk show guy, because let's face it, everyone knows the Mike from Maine show. And if they don't, they sure shit will after this. They see you, and to hear that you're like running your own spin of something else, I think that's pretty powerful, because you can hear it over and over, but until you see the people you look up to, the people you've been watching for a while, say that, yeah, we model people, it kind of is like a taboo thing for them.
And everyone has their own spin on it. I mean, there's other people that do interviews out there like I do, but I say like I do, but there's people that will do that, and they have different styles. Some are more pushy than others. Some are less organized. Some are asking different type of questions. Like, and you like the audience might prefer one person to another person. There's so much room for people to be doing review videos and interviews and promotions and whatever you want to do. There's just so many ways to do this. Just, yeah, if you're not doing it, why not?
Well, exactly. If Kim Kardashian can get paid $300,000 to show up at an event and talk, people will listen to you on the interwebs. That's the way I always put it.
Yeah.
And they totally will gravitate towards you. So I really like the modeling fact that you brought that up. I really do, because it's important for people to know that we're not all coming up with these crazy individual ideas each time. And then there's like the rehash part of it. Like, how many different ways are there really to make money on the internet? There's probably like 20 solid different ways. And every single one of them just has a different spin on a different spin of a different spin. Am I right? You've interviewed 700 people, so you know.
There's a lot of basic, the ways that I see, it's like, go out there, finds a problem that people have. Like, what's their problem? Is it a health problem? Is it a money problem? Is it a my wife doesn't have a purple bag problem? Like, so that's her problem. So selling her the purple bag, you solve the problem. She'll give you money for it. You solve someone's problem. You point them in the right direction. You tell them what they need, and you're going to get paid for it if you're helping people out. If your whole goal is just to make money, if that's your whole goal, then the likelihood that you're going to make money is going to be much less than someone who sits down for a second and says, look, okay, let's figure out how we can actually help people. If you look at what I do with my interviews and my reviews, my interview is essentially, it's a pre-sell of an offer. It warms people up. But as a way of helping them, I'm able to say, look, this is who this person is. This is the actual face of the product creator. I'm going to ask them some questions, kind of dig down a little bit and see what this is really all about. You can see how they answer. Do you believe them? Do you believe their answers? Are they sincere to you? Are they stuttering a little bit when you ask them about some part of their income? Like, you're able to feel better about your purchase. When I do the review videos, I'm showing what they're going to get when they purchase. I'm showing the one-time offers, the upsells that so many people think are I can't believe they're offering that. Well, you're not going to be surprised now. Now you're making a decision. You're going to know that you're going to get offered this, but then you have these optional one-time offers. I'm able to provide that service instead of just sending someone, like you've probably seen those videos on YouTube where it's just like people will try to rank for a product name plus review, but they'll just put like a little crappy little video and then a thing to click the link below. That's not helping anyone. That's the only thing that's doing is maybe you're going to make some commissions. Sure, you might make some money from it. Like,
do they though? Like, that's crazy. Like, I do they though? Like, you see it.
Yeah, they do. They make from it. But they're not building an audience. They're not building a business. They're not building something that is going to keep growing over time. It's great value. Help people out, and they will give you money.
Yeah, yes, they will. All right, so that's cool. I know your wife is going to come home and ring the doorbell. I'm usually around 45 minutes to an hour. Although I'm saving up space because I have Brad Spencer coming up, and if you've ever had a chat with him, you know that those can go off on like multiple hours if you get going. It's good conversations that way. So we've got about 5 minutes here. Is there anything you want to say to the interwebs land, or anything you want to let people know about you, or just, I don't know, something? Because I'm having fun. I just know we're gonna have to run at some point here, and I'd rather you not have to suddenly leave with the doorbell and let you leave on your own terms.
Yeah. I mean, I would just say that it's not going to happen overnight. If you're not making money yet, and you've been trying to find a method, and you think everyone's scamming you, and you think you're coming at it with that kind of an attitude, then maybe you should just get a job and not do this. If you're gonna come at it and you're willing to put in some work, you're willing to invest in something a little more than a $7 product, probably you're not going to learn everything you need in someone's $7 course. Most of these smaller courses are intended to funnel you into larger courses, but if you're with the right person, you sign up for someone's coaching or their big products. If they're doing it the right way, then their program should be set up in a way so that it's going to actually get you results, because they get you results and they're able to show other people that they get results, that you've got results, and it keeps them growing that way. So I would say that just kind of knowing how this all works. Don't pull out your credit card for every single offer that comes out there. But I hate it when people say take action. Like, it's true and it's not true, Bill. Take action is something that everyone always says. You need to take action. You need to take action. But you need to take action on something that actually works. You can take action on something, but if it doesn't work, then it doesn't matter how much action you take on it.
I'm so jumping in, because that's like, I mean, people. Here's the thing. I used to personally, and I once I started telling this to readers and stuff about taking action, I'll either get a screw you, buddy, or I'll get a, oh man, you're so right. When I first was struggling and I couldn't get anything to work, I was under the assumption that taking action was buying a product, doing a little bit, then heading back to the inbox and finding a new product, buying it, doing a little bit. And like, I was actually, every time I went into the inbox, I thought that was working. You know what I mean? I thought that was taking action, but it's not. It's about that stick-to-itiveness. Like, I agree. Most $7 offers are designed to get you in, but the right $7 offer gives you enough info where you're like, holy shit, that will work. And if you don't buy the upsells, then fine, you're going to have to work a little bit harder to do it. But I think that $7 offer, I know, because my first one was a $14 offer that helped me. I was like, oh, ding, ding. All right, let's go do that. And then I did that, and that's how it went. I didn't buy the upsell. I didn't buy anything. So you can find it, but I think if you're confused about what taking action actually means, then you're screwed. Because the action is towards your goal, not buying every single product, applying a little bit, and then moving on to the next one.
For me, I think I have a good example of it. For me, taking action was, back in 2014, I had success with my model of making money with doing review videos and interviews and stuff, and I needed to put out a product about that. And I needed to create some kind of a sales funnel. And I was like, I don't want it. It sounds like too much work. And finally, I took a course by Ben Atkins about what's it called, funnel vision or something, where it was about just simply how he was building. He had a $7 offer to a $27 offer to a $47, whatever. So he was building a quick little funnel, and I was like, cool, that makes sense. Like I could maybe build a little funnel and start putting some traffic through that and see what happens. So I did that, and that I created a product, put my product up. Like that little action, taking that action, got the ball rolling for me, and I went forward and I launched the product. I made a bunch of sales. I made 50,000 in sales, about 25 in profit, and I was able to then sell coaching on the back end, making another 25,000. I had to learn while I was launching. I was learning how to do webinars. I was messaging Bill, going, Bill, I don't know how to do a webinar. How do I structure this? And Bill was like, okay, Mike, just take this. And I was like, Bill, I think you put out a course for your students about this. Like, I need it. So he said, no, I'm like in the middle of launching, learning how to do a webinar, learning how to set up a freaking like coaching program. I kind of had a little bit set up, but I was learning how to like get it all set up for new students. And I had how many students did I have? I was selling it for 2,000, so I had like 12 students come into the program. I was learning it all on the fly, and I think that it's that pressure that really got me to learn something and to move forward. If we don't have that pressure, I mean, I guess a good kind of way to tie it into what I said before, so we can wrap it up, is think back to when my wife wanted to buy a house, and I had to work my ass off to earn more money. That pressure coming in on me made me work. So in both cases, taking action, that pressure, you hear all these success stories of people, like all these big guys that were living in their car and they couldn't pay their bills, and some of them are true. Like, yeah, and like it's actually like the reason why these people were successful is because they had to be successful. They weren't. They were either not going to eat. They were going to have to do. For me, I got down to my last like $7,000 in my bank account, and I was freaking out, and like I needed to make this whole thing work, and it finally started working. Blah blah. I think that pressure is when the taking action happens. Because if you don't have that pressure, the worst thing I've had, Bill, is I'll have coaching clients that have other jobs and are comfortable in their life. They're making a decent income. They're trying to maybe move online. It sounds interesting to them. Those are the people that are the hardest to get to work. The ones that work their asses off are the ones that are like their wives or their girlfriends are complaining that they're not making money online doesn't work. They have to make this work. That's what happens. That's taking action under pressure.
It's like setting a tentative launch date. Oh, well, I think I might launch it, 2 months from now. Whereas I think we did Ecom Empire was like, we had all the stuff, there was months and months of proof, but we just hadn't put the package together, we hadn't set the date yet, hadn't even started. So we went with 2 weeks. We're like, let's go in 2 weeks, we gotta get this going, all done. Ended up being like the best launch I've ever been part of, but there was so much intense pressure on you. So yeah, it totally makes sense. I think that's something I'm gonna remember for a long time, is it's that action plus pressure equals results, because you need that pressure.
Yeah, I think there's a quote about that somewhere, and about the things getting done when there's not enough time. And so I forget the quote. I'll have to send it to you later. But it's about not. I actually got it from. I'm a video game nerd as well. I like to play Civilization on my computer. It's one of those quotes that comes up. But just like not having enough time and being under pressure is amazing.
Perfect, dude. I'm going to end it on that because that was awesome. Anyways, everyone, this was 100 billionth. Actually, I think it was only like 4th or 5th episode. It's a long way to go to catch up to Mike. But this was Behind the Hype. Nothing for pitch, but there are links to stuff down below if you would like to follow Mike, even though he has shamelessly promoted MikeForMaine.com. There's also another link down below. Mike, I truly appreciate you hanging out with me and doing this side where it's not about anything but just us shooting the shit. So I appreciate that. Thanks for taking your time out, and I'll see you later.